Alpine ski areas in Ontario, unlike other parts of Canada, are closed under the pandemic lockdown orders that are currently in effect. That's going to have a serious impact on an industry that only gets 3 months a year to make their whole year. We talked to Alicia Cameron with Loch Lomond. It's James with NetNewsLedger, and we have Alicia Cameron from Loch Lomond joining us by Zoom. Alicia, normally at this time of the year, people would be getting out in flocking numbers and downhill skiing. But under the pandemic, with the lockdown, Loch Lomond has had to figure out other ways to operate. What do our readers and viewers need to know?
So for the interim during the pandemic, we have opened our territory, our mountains, to people who live in the region to come tobogganing, sliding, snowshoeing, and cross-country skiing. It's obviously a totally different realm than what we are used to, which is the Alpine sports, so our skiing and our snowboarders. It's a very different winter for us, to say the least. We're still waiting on a confirmed opening date from the provincial government, which has kind of been pushed back a few times at this point. We are ready to open in an Alpine capacity. We were ready to be open on January the 9th when originally we were told we were going to be able to. At this point, the February 11th date that is published doesn't feel like it's permanent, and we would really like some clarification from the government and some certainty from the government stating that ski hills will be allowed to operate by that time.
Now, for our readers here in Thunder Bay, what's unusual is that across the rest of Canada, alpine ski areas in Alberta, for example, Nikiska, Loch Lomond, and Sunshine Village are all open. British Columbia ski hills are open. Why is Ontario, what are you hearing? Why is Ontario closed the downhill ski areas?
The standard messaging that we're getting back from the province and the Minister for Heritage, Sports, Tourism and Recreation is that they're trying to dissuade Ontarians from traveling. And that's something that does make sense, I suppose, in one aspect. If you are a resident of Southern Ontario, there are very few ski hills that are in the metropolitan areas. So you would have to leave your health unit's district to participate in the sport. I feel like that is a very different ballgame for us up here in the north. The closest health unit to us is about 4 hours this way or 4 hours that way. Most of our patrons are local residents. Most of them, almost all of them exclusively, are local residents. And I'm not entirely sure exactly why this travel restriction hasn't been put into place, if this is actually the reason that ski hills are closed.
It's one that's got people, especially on social media, questioning it. And on Facebook, I'm watching people who are sharing pictures of their backyard downhill ski area that they've got their kids out to get exercise. Getting out and downhill skiing before the lockdown, what was Loch Lomond doing to make sure that it was safe for people to come skiing?
Before we were formally locked down and we were able to operate in some sort of capacity, the chalet was kind of like the crux of the matter there. So, we were just following all of the regular procedures that came to retail and restaurants. So our rental shop falls under retail, and our restaurant obviously was operating as a restaurant. But that's the easy part. Skiing outside of the building is kind of the thing that most people have their heads scratching over. So when people attend Loch Lomond, we have moved our ticket office outside. So it's a window to the outside of actually the ski patrol building. So just one of the outbuildings by the bottom of the north chairlift is where you would come to collect your day pass. Lift lines were set up with corral, so there was, I believe, 6 meters between the two lift lines leading to each of the lifts. And then just by having skis on, people are forced to maintain social distancing unless they're being obnoxious and standing on skis of the people in front of them. We did have ticket checkers up and down the lines reminding people to keep their faces covered, and also to be maintaining their social distancing. So it's very clear when you've got a group or a family of people in a line that they are together. We're kind of a little bit less sticky, that the 4-year-olds are less than 6 feet away from their parents, but it's a very easy thing to maintain, is the social distancing when you are outside and you have as much space as we do. On our busiest day, the lines may kind of looked long, but if you took a step back and actually counted heads, they only looked long because of the social distancing that was happening. There wasn't a big clump of people, they were quite spread out. And I think that's kind of common across the globe at this point. If you see the crazy lift lines at Big White or down in the States at Vail, very long lines. But if you take a better look at those pictures, you'll see that people are following the rules. They want to follow the rules. They want their ski areas to be safe. As soon as you're on the chairlift, our policy was if you arrive together, you can ride together, as in it's single household only on the chairlift together. So a parent and child can ride up together, a husband and wife can go together, a husband and husband can go together. It was very well respected also. We had singles going up the chairlift regularly, and people aren't really willing to step on toes right now. They want the ski hills to be safe. They want everyone else to feel safe. If that means having to wait just a little bit longer so that person can go up by themselves if they want to, it doesn't really seem to have a lot of stigma attached to it.
Now, a couple of days ago, we were on a call with Premier Ford, and the Premier basically was asked about ski areas, and his answer was that he really hasn't got time for that issue right now. But as a ski resort, you have a limited number of days every year that you're going to be able to be open. The year's worth of, call it, income for keeping the hill alive happens in those very short number of days. And with this lockdown, how does that affect Loch Lomond?
Well, Loch Lomond has always been a small ski hill, so we don't have the huge revenue streams that the bigger hills down south will have. Our pre-season, season pass sales are kind of the little push that we need to get the hill open at the start of the season. With no revenue coming in right now, and without substantial support coming from the provincial government, this could be the end for skiing in northwestern Ontario, theoretically.
Now, you've been reaching out to government officials at the municipal and provincial level. Is there anything you'd like to share with us on that?
So far, everyone that I've spoken to has been supportive of ski hills in our region, and they do see exactly where we're coming from. There's been significant revenue loss for us, and significant enough that it could affect the viability of the business. MPP Judith Monterey-Farrow has already published a letter in support of us, asking the Premier to address the ski hills in the Northwest in particular. I've spoken with MPP Michael Gravel's office, and they also sound like they are supportive of this, and hopefully will also be writing a letter to the Premier. I've spoken to Bill Morrow's office also here locally. They are big advocates for sport in the region there, and I expect to hear back from him in the next day or so. Ideally, we get some support from their end also. I think the cincher here is going to be getting the support from our health unit, advocating that our ski hills are safe to operate during the pandemic.
Well, let's hope that that happens, and let's keep the conversation going, because, people getting out and getting exercise, we keep hearing how important that is. Downhill skiing is a great way to get out, get exercise, and you're already, as you said, you're social distanced already because you've got these skis on the front of you with space between you and all the other people.
Exactly. So outdoor exercise, I'm sure I don't need to tell you, is a huge boost for endorphins and mental health. And it's a very popular pastime for teenagers in particular, who I know we're seeing elevated issues in the mental health circle with during this pandemic. I myself have a lot of important young people in my life, and the effects that they're seeing during this pandemic, I really feel like could be mitigated if only they had an opportunity to kind of explore and learn and build on skills and feel proud of themselves for becoming a better something, whether that be a skier or, it's hard to say any of the other sports right now, like hockey player, dance, or whatever. They need something in their lives at this point.
Alicia, thank you very much for taking the time today, for talking to our NetNewsLedger audience, and we'll keep the conversation going.
Thank you so much.